Excuse me, sir. Sir. Question for you.
Yes.
How old were you when you made your first million?
42.
And what line of business are you in?
I'm in software.
Yeah? And do you think I could interview real quick? I have one of the biggest business media channels in the entire world. I go all over interviewing the most successful people.
I think I've heard of you guys.
How long have you been a business owner?
So I started in tech as a young man, and in my case, that was 40 years ago. And then 3 other buddies and I started one in 2000. That was our first company.
What was the most amount of money that you made in a single year?
The company, we're over $850 million in revenue.
Over 850 million?
Yes.
What was the best advice you ever received throughout your career? The most pivotal, life-changing advice that you received in business or anything?
I'm going to hesitate to say this is the only great piece of advice I got. And an older guy, when I joined IBM in the 1980s, said, look, my advice to younger folks is to spend about 90% of your time on your job and 10% on your career. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he said, look, if you spend 100% on your job, you're going to do a really good job at the job you're in, but nobody's ever going to see you moving beyond that job because you aren't making connections. You're not thinking beyond it. Where do you go next? 90-ish+% into doing a great job with where you're at, but you always want to reserve like 10% of your capacity, make connections, learn about what it takes to go to the next level. How do I become an entrepreneur if I've never been an entrepreneur? How do I get into that industry if I'm in another industry? You're always thinking about stretching and growing, but that's about 10%. And if you keep that balance, I think that's a really healthy piece of advice.
Your last message to somebody in their 20s trying to build $1 billion company in today's world. They want to become successful like you.
Surround yourself with a great team.
It all comes down to people.
Never do this by yourself.
Yeah.
Find the right team, get the right people around you, and then go after a great problem. You got to have a big enough market problem to get to $1 billion business for sure, but you got to have the right team.
How did you identify $1 billion problem?
I had been in this space a long time, been around security for big companies, so we had seen a lot of what worked and what didn't, and ultimately we saw things emerging that looked like they could be big problems. And look, I will tell you the truth, this problem, this space has gotten bigger than we ever thought it would. So some of it is sometimes markets evolve in ways you can't predict, and it's actually made our space even more attractive. But we knew it'd be a good space, it's become a great space.